Greetings from Morocco. I'm back here, this time with my wife, and we're riding to rented Royal Enfield Himalayans. And as it goes, it was also my first bike that I bought back in Latvia. Rode it for about a year and a half, then grew out of it. But while I did ride it, I rode it quite hard, as you can see from the videos on this channel.
Please, David,
But here I am again on the same bike, and I thought it's a good idea to use this backdrop of the Saharan dunes to do a little review of this quirky little bike, but not as your main daily driver, but as a rental bike. Well, you see, Himalayan has become quite a popular rental bike in many countries beyond Europe. In Africa, in Asia, you can rent these, and you can understand why. They're cheap to buy, simple to maintain. There's really nothing much to go wrong with them. There are no electronics apart from ABS, and basically that's it. But they're still considered premium bike in these countries compared to the small displacement bikes and mopeds riding around here. And you know, I've been riding my Tenere now for some time, and I've seen everything there is to see in Latvia, and I'm looking to travel further, beyond Europe preferably. And then there's always the consideration, do I ship my bike there? That would cost a lot. Do I ride my bike there? Well, that would take a lot of time and get boring fast. Or do I just rent a bike, fly to it, and off I go? And then you wonder, how will Himalayan perform compared to my modern bike back at home? Will it handle all the roads I want to take? Will it be a good adventure bike? An important, maybe the most important question is the cost. How much does it cost to rent one? Well, compared to the big bikes. For example, this one costs 50 euros per day here in Morocco if you take it for a week, let's say. A KTM 890 costs 130, so it's almost 3 times the price. So if you have a fixed budget on this one, you can ride 3 times more. Since I've been in Morocco twice now, first time on my Tenere, now on a Himalayan, I can really compare those two one to one. So how is it to ride actually? Well, it is slow, no doubt about it. It's 24 horses, that's not much. You won't get any awards on speed racing with it. But the thing in these countries, in Africa and Asia, everywhere else, beyond Europe, there's really no place to ride the bike faster than 100 kilometers per hour. You're mostly going 40, 60, 80 at tops. Also, the less power you have, the more forgiving the bike is. You're riding here on very sketchy roads next to steep drop-offs. If you ride a very powerful bike where a small twist of the handle sets you flying, then you risk just riding off the edge. With this one, you can safely twist the handle as much as you like, and nothing will happen. You wish it would happen sometimes, but for the most of the time, it's just, you just relax and enjoy the view. Also, it might be a small bike, but it's a proper adventure bike. It has a 21-inch front. It can handle really most of the pistas here in Morocco, most of the country roads in Nepal, and so on. It's not handicapped in any way. And now when I'm riding it compared to Tenere here in Morocco, I don't really feel any major difference in the experience of the bike ride. Maybe except the dunes, where I did ride my Tenere, and this one really can't do that. But then again, heavy bikes are not meant for these dunes either. You're better off riding here with any bike you can. Rent a small light KTM or Honda and go rip in the dunes with that. Not with this, not with Tenere, not with your big KTM. So there's that. So basically it's a tractor on two wheels. The gearing is so low, you can easily start it in second. On these pistes, for example, in Morocco, you put it in third and just ride all day long on that speed. And that's it. Also, if it's getting steep, like very rocky climbs, it's actually good to have a lot of torque, but not much of horsepower. You're just climbing slowly up the hill. As long as there's traction, you will get there. The suspension, well, it's not great, I must admit, but it's not bad either. There is no adjustment whatsoever. I don't even know if there's preload. There is probably preload, but I haven't touched it. I rode it with my luggage, no problem. I'm not bottoming it out. It's a bit harsh on the potholes, but then again, which bike isn't? It handles perfectly adequate, let's say. The ground clearance is not very high, so I am hitting the rocks sometimes, but it comes with a built-in bash plate, so no problem with that. It also comes, I think it's stock with a center stand, so it's easy to maintain your chain on the road. The tires mostly are not so great. They're like 70-30, 70 road, 30 off-road, like stock tires. If you would really want to go like in a harder off-road, you would probably want to ask your rental a better tires or travel with your own tires, because these ones are good for gravel, but like for sandy sections or mud, they won't handle so great. And what about handling? Well, surprisingly, it handles very well. Actually, when I bought my Tenere and rode it for the first time off-road, I felt like this handled better, because the motor is very low, the center of gravity is low, it feels very nimble, very easy to maneuver, the seat is very low, you can easily touch the ground. And speaking of the seat, as you can see, this is not stock. I traveled here with my own Himalayan seat, because I had one made for my own. It's higher, because as you can see, with this seat even I can easily touch the ground, but I'm also comfortable and I'm not hitting with my knees these guards. But on the other hand, on the stock bike, my knees are here and it gets quite uncomfortable. So if you're a bigger guy like me, you would probably need to consider some sheepskin or something to make the seat higher, or do it like me, travel with your own seat. But otherwise, if you're a smaller size, this is very approachable bike. For ladies out there, for the guys who are vertically challenged, this is very easy, much easier than the big tall bikes. However, do not mistake, this is still a heavy bike. It basically weighs the same as Tenere, 200 kilos. If you try to manhandle it, it's a bit heavy, but it is easier to lift than a Tenere because the low center of gravity, so you can lift it alone. But it isn't a light enduro bike to go thrashing around the dunes either. The brakes, the front brake, not so much. They're single disc, not so great, but the back brake is actually quite good, and I'm using it quite a lot on these twisty roads. And I would even say that it's better than on the Tenere, well, the feel of it at least. The wind protection, it's not great if you're going over 100, but then again, you're not going over 100 a lot. So at 80, 90, it's perfect. No buffeting, nothing like that. There is, however, vibration. It's a single cylinder. So if you are coming from a 2 or 3 cylinder bike, you will feel the difference. So after a long day of riding, you want to take the hands off the handlebars and feet off the pegs. So there's that. You do need to take pauses, but it's not terrible like a Harley or a 690 KTM. That one vibrates compared to this much more. Also, it's quite good on fuel. It sips less than a Tenere. The tank is, I think, the same, 16 liters, but it gets me more kilometers per tank than my Tenere does. I don't know how much exactly, but I know compared. What else is there to tell about the bike? Well, nothing much. It's so simple that you just kind of forget about it. When I first sat on it after riding on a Tenere, it felt like a moped. This funny little thing between your legs, but now it's the third or fourth day. I'm completely used to it again. I'm not thinking about the bike while riding. I'm just enjoying the scenery, and there's a thing on two wheels that gets me there. But there are other aspects. Why is this a great bike for rental? Let's see, from afar, you don't look like a tourist. You don't scream, hey, money bag coming, you know, with your big BMJs. When you come closer, the kids do recognize you have bags and a colorful jacket, and then you're a tourist, and then we can annoy you. But from afar, they don't notice. Also, this bike is a conversation starter. If you turn up with your GS to a hotel, well, you're just another tourist. But with this one, people come, look around, see Royal Enfield Himalayan. Yes, good bike, brother. And the conversation gets going, and you're more, let's say you're still a tourist, let's face it, but you're more of a local tourist. You get some respect points from the locals for riding something like this. Well, what else is there to say about the bike? Not much. It's such a simple thing, and you want simple in these places. You don't want your immobilizer to stop working. With this one, every bush mechanic can fix it, and that is very important. And this bike being on the slow side actually means that you see more of the country. You're not just racing, watching the lines, and being on a rally stage, which is fine. If you come here, it is a perfect place to do that. But if you come here to travel, to see the place, to experience the place, you don't want the views whooshing by you. And with this one, nothing's whooshing by you. You can just relax, ride, enjoy the view, and the bike won't punish you and won't make you want to race. And that's important. With a more powerful bike, you feel that roar and you want to race, and then all of a sudden you find yourself not seeing anything. Hey, what did I see today? I saw some curves, and that's it. So all in all, it's not a perfect bike, by no means. I wouldn't recommend it as the unicorn. It is not the one. It's not the best adventure bike. You wouldn't want to buy this back at home and call it a day. You will be looking at other bikes. For me personally, I do like my Tenere better. It's more powerful, it's more sophisticated, it's smoother, and etc. It's just a more pleasant bike. But as a travel rental, even if you're riding a modern bike back at home, I think it's perfect. It gets the job done. It gets you traveling. And that's the most important thing about the adventure bikes. It's not your fancy springs and nice dashboard and Android Auto and CarPlay and everything else. If you can get to these places on two wheels, do it cheaply, simply, you're golden. And so, what do you think of the bike? You own one? You ride it one every day to work? Now you're with that in Morocco. How is it?
I enjoy that it's a very stable motorbike. I'm really not comfortable with sands and floating soil, but yesterday I was even able to drive into the desert, which is actually huge for me. And yeah, it is very stable and safe motorbike. You wouldn't go for an adventure with that in the desert, in the sandy desert, but I'm not looking for that. For me, it's that I can get some controlled adventures, and for that, for a woman, this bike is excellent. I love it. I have thought about a more powerful bike, but to be honest, I think I'm not ready to change it yet. I think with Enfield there is much more to explore for me.
Okay. let's go explore.